On this episode of the House of Hacks, I'm going to try cleaning up this really old camera. Hi makers, builders, and photographers, Harley here. On today's episode, I'm going to do a brief overview of this camera, and then we'll start cleaning it. I'll start with the outside, move to the lens, and finally do the viewfinder. A number of months ago, my dad gave me a bunch of old cameras, and this is one of them. It's a vintage 30s or 40s Graflex RB Series B camera. It's a SLR. And it was bought new by my maternal great-grandfather. My grandparents gave it to my dad about the time I was born. And I don't ever remember him ever using it, putting any film through it. I have no idea when the last time this was used. But after I got it, I started looking at it and playing around, taking a look at it. The focus works. The aperture seems to work. The shutter release works, the film advance works, and so I don't see any reason why this can't take pictures. I'm going to clean it up. It's been sitting in storage for who knows how many decades, so it's dirty, but other than that it seems to be in just perfect shape. I'm going to clean it up, document the cleaning up in this episode, and in a future episode I anticipate showing the operation of it and some images that it makes. An interesting thing about the Graflex is that it is an SLR. When we usually think of SLR, we think of something a little bit more modern, where the light path comes through the lens, hits a mirror, up through a prism mechanism, and then through the viewfinder. When the shutter's released, the mirror pops up, the light hits the shutter releases and exposes the film or sensor. The Graflex is a little bit different. In its case, the light comes through the lens, hits the mirror, but then it bounces up and hits a ground glass plane. This ground glass gives you an image that's actually size for size the same as what the film will see. So you can see exactly the framing that you're going to get and the focus that you have. But again, when the shutter is released, the mirror will pop up, the light will come back, the shutter will release, and the film will be exposed in the same way. First, I'm going to clean the outside with some compressed air, terry cloth towel, and some mild detergents. Right now I have the lens in the down position to be able to focus and see through the viewfinder. This button on the side will cause that mirror to pop up, and now there's a clear path through the camera to the film. If we take the back off, I have the shutter in what's equivalent to in a modern camera to bulb mode, where the shutter is open. And if we look down through here, we can see straight through the body with the lens on the other side. So the only thing that we really need to clean in order to get the best picture possible is the lens. So I'll tackle that next. The lens comes in two parts. The first is this outer part that just screws off. And the interesting thing about this is it has interchangeable lenses. This is kind of the standard focal length lens, I guess you would say, that's on here. And you can get another one that was more of a telephoto lens that was popular with portrait photographers. I'm going to use some 91% isopropyl alcohol and a lens cloth and clean this off, blow it off with some air, and then we'll do the next half. The second half of this lens contains the aperture and an objective behind it. If you look at this, it's kind of interesting. Modern lenses have between 5 and 9 veins in the aperture, and this one I counted around and there's 15 veins. I'm not quite sure why there are so many more veins on this versus a modern camera. I'm not quite sure the optics, the physics behind it, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. If we unscrew this, I can get to the objective behind, and this is considerably cleaner than the front lens was. And with the aperture opened up all the way, I can get to the front, and obviously the back is no problem. Well, that took a lot more elbow grease than I expected to get the front objective clean. It was really, really grimy, much more grimy than I expected. The good news, though, is after I got the aperture mechanism apart, I realized that back objective actually screws in. So it was much easier to clean the front part of that objective than I was expecting. So now I can put everything back together here and move on to the next thing. Since the camera is operational, really all I need to do is clean things up. If we look through the viewfinder here, we can see all these nasty black spots all over the place. For the most part, this is just on the mirror or the ground glass. The lens wouldn't show up this way, and that's really the only thing that would impact the image quality on the film. So while I have it open, I'll go ahead and clean this up, blow everything out, and try to get rid of these spots just on general principles. But they really don't impact image quality on the film itself. So if we look inside here, I have the mirror flipped down now. If we look inside here, we can see the mirror and the ground glass is up around the bend there. We can't really see it too well, but we can see the mirror. I'm going to basically use the microfiber cloth and the rubbing alcohol to clean the lens, and I'm going to try to get up around the corner there on the ground glass as best as I can and blow it out with some compressed air. Well, I think that's about all I can do for today. I think it's time to button it up, and I'll do a final test tomorrow when the sun comes back out. The cleaning the mirror was actually a little bit more tricky than I expected it to be. It was in there deeper than I thought, and it was just hard to get to. I wasn't able to get to the ground glass at all on the bottom. I was able to get to the top, and that was probably the most grime that I've removed from the camera in any one particular area in through this whole thing. So it just kind of spot checking right now, as best as I can tell, it actually does look a lot better. I'll check tomorrow with another image, kind of an after shot from the before shot that I showed before, to see how it really looks. But that's it for tonight. Time to button it up. Well, that's what it looks like through the viewfinder now. It looks a lot better than it did before. I'm really pleased with the way it cleaned up. Amazingly, the dirtiest part of the whole camera, the part that got the most grime off, was the top of the outside of the ground glass. That just was amazingly dirty, and I think it made a huge difference on this particular image. The lens also was more dirty than I realized it was, and took quite a bit of elbow grease to clean it off. But it's all nice, sparkly, shiny now, ready to go out and take some pictures. That about wraps up this episode. I recently got a couple rolls of film and plan on taking the camera out this weekend to see how it performs. In a couple weeks, I should have a follow-up video going over the operation and see how the images actually turned out. Thumbs up if you like this video, and I'd love to hear from you if you have any questions or comments. Be sure to subscribe to find out about future videos. Until next time, go make something. It doesn't have to be perfect, just have fun.